Hello everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Here I have Niño with me, who has been a client for some time now, and yeah, super grateful to have you in the program and kind of like see your transformation so far. So if you can introduce yourself and kind of share a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Nino. I'm a content creator, coach, and I've been in this space for quite a while, but I did get to a point where I really didn't understand how to grow my business anymore. I felt like I had a huge bottleneck. I thought that I had created what I needed. I had a website that I thought was working well. I was making content, but I just wasn't able to actually get like meaningful clients or leads rather.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's a problem that a lot of people have. Like they have an audience
Yeah.
and they just aren't sure how to convert it. So I feel like we've been able to kind of crack the code on that. Where were you at when you first started?
When we first started together, admittedly, I was quite arrogant in the sense that I thought that I knew how to sell because I understood like the psychology behind selling. So I was like, oh, I understand what selling is. But I humbly accepted the help from Emily and recognized I had a lot of work to do in actually understanding what it means to sell and the processes behind selling. I didn't actually have a funnel that was working effectively at all. Um, I wasn't actually creating content that was actually meaningful. Like, I wasn't creating content that would meaningfully convert my audience into paying customers. And even the content itself was maybe being targeted not towards the kind of people that I needed who would actually become clients and customers.
Mhm.
And that's all stuff that we like have been working on and been continuously growing, like to the
Yeah.
point where now, like, I close sales call like no problem. No, like I'm quite proud of myself, honestly.
Let's go. Yeah, yeah. In the past like couple weeks, how many sales calls have you had and how many have you closed?
I think I've had six and I've closed five.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And now
Yeah.
we're working on increasing those prices.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it.
No,
So, yeah, when we first started, just to give you guys a little bit of a background, we initially just set up a funnel, kind of give you like a DM script,
yep.
for relationship slash life coaching specifically, and a sales script as well. And then kind of refine that along the way and kept you accountable for everything. But what was the biggest thing that helped you?
What was the biggest thing? I think honestly, being given the understanding of the different structures around like what it means to create an offer, why you would need a VSL, what it even means to have a qualified lead. How do you qualify leads? How do you create the systems in place to create the most amount of like smooth transition? It's hard for me to say one thing because I go, well, I mean, personally, I really like the fact that I understand sales now from like a actual technical capacity. But I don't think it would matter if I knew sales if I didn't understand the different parts of a successful sales funnel. So like really, it's been like all of it in many ways. But and in I now feel like I have really have an understanding of, oh, what are the necessary components of a business for someone in my position. Like
Yeah.
really, it's like, oh, of course you need this because without that you couldn't have this, and you need to be building. It just makes sense now, and I was very not educated on it
And
beforehand. I yeah.
that's totally okay, right? Like as a coach, as someone in the like self-development healing space, you don't have to be an expert marketer. Like if you're what do they say? Like a jack of all trades is a master of none, right? So you going out and hiring someone who can help you understand the system behind the business, I feel like was a really good, smart move. And yeah, it's been absolutely incredible, like being able to work with you and build out this whole system to now where you're getting sales calls in, people are coming on calls, and you have more confidence showing up. But also, you have an amazing program. I know you spent some time building that out, and like, I really like working with coaches who are awesome at what they do, and I can just tell that the transformation that you give people is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, I think anyone who's listening, if you're like a genuinely good coach, like you know what you have to offer is valuable. Working with someone like Emily just makes it like, oh, I now know how to clearly communicate the value that I know I was giving. I just wasn't sure. I felt uncomfortable around the nature of sales and marketing. Now it really just goes like, no, I feel confident in that. Yes, I understand, and
Mm.
I no longer have like even the limiting beliefs around what it means to sell and or market a business or a
Mm.
service like this.
That's huge. So
Yeah.
what has been the hardest part of your journey so far?
For me, it was seeing the value or communicating the value and not feeling guilty around charging money. That was like for me my own limitation just because of my own um unique relationship with money, I guess, growing up. And this really, I think our process working together helped me understand firstly like because of how much value you've been giving me. I was like, oh, of course I paid this amount, because why wouldn't you pay this amount when you're getting this much value? So almost being on the receiving end of a service like that, I was like, oh shit, of course. And then learning how to communicate that and
Mm.
recognizing even when I'm in a sales call, it's not about me. I'm not in those sales calls being like, I'm trying to make a sale. No, I'm here to really answer their questions and show them exactly why what I have is what's going to get them from A to be. And the thing that they're missing is me. And
Mm.
I'm just making it apparent because I believe it. And that's the, if you're not a charlatan or a snake oil salesman and you genuinely believe in what you're doing, it really does end up coming kind of naturally
Yeah.
once the systems are in place and you kind
Yeah.
of understand. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. Like being on that sales call and actually taking and leaning back and being like, I'm not here to just close people. I'm here
Mm-hmm.
to help them and also just see if, what I have to offer is even going to be helpful for them. Because I, as a coach, you as a coach, we have the ability to work with people that we want to, and we also have the ability to say no to people that we don't want to work with. And so
Mm-hmm.
just understanding who's a good fit, who's not. And then so it's mainly been like the pricing for you. That's
Yeah.
been the hardest part of your journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say there was any part maybe with like the mindset or content? I feel like a lot of it comes easy to you because you already came into this space very confident and disciplined as a person.
I don't want to, oh, I don't mean to brag. Yeah, I mean, I think my biggest gap was around understanding, not so much discipline and mindset.
Yeah.
Those are things that I like to think I've cultivated. But even then, I think mindset grows as a result inevitably because I was ignorant to something in my life. Like I
Mm.
wanted to be a business, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I have the skill to sell to do my service, but I didn't understand the skills to sell my service. And I was definitely scared of what it meant to sell and like, oh, and I held the naive and somewhat now I recognize kind of arrogant mindset that, oh, well, they should just see the value, like because I see it, other people should just see it, it should be obvious. And I think a lot of coaches fall into that trap, and I go, that's silly. Like, why should we assume that an individual just understands why our programs are priced the way they're at? Us learning how to communicate that and really in an honest and transparent way show them how our processes, our programs, our service can take them through a transformational process that they are looking for.
Mm.
That's the importance of the qualification. And that's really for me why I feel so comfortable. Is like I know my leads are qualified, I know what they want. By the
Mm.
time I hop on that call, I'm like, you're looking for exactly what I have to give you, so I
Yeah.
don't feel like I'm trying to convince them. Yeah.
Mm.
And this is all I feel like I said, like it's like each little point from understanding what a qualified lead looks like, understanding what it means to take them through that sales process. What does it mean to be a good salesman as opposed to like being, route and robotic throughout it's all been very helpful.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. And just so everyone knows, when we first started, you had how many clients, I believe?
Just two, I think
Just
it
two
was just,
clients?
yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. And in the last like 30, 60 days.
I think we've had eight now, nine, 60 days through two
Mhm.
months, six in the group, four in the, I think 10.
10 clients in the last 60 days.
Man,
Amazing.
pretty
Incredible.
dope.
Pretty dope. And how did that feel? Like, did it feel like a ton of work or
If anything, I felt like I was doing way more work beforehand, and it felt like aimless work. This work now feels like I said, it's like I have my systems in place. I just
yeah.
gotta, it feels a lot more manageable, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want our work to revolve around our life and not the other way around. So now that you have, because when we first started, it was mainly one-on-one calls, and
Yep.
now I've introduced more group calls. How has that been for you? Kind of being around more coaches in the in a community, and yeah, what's your
I love
experience been?
it. I mean, oh yeah, when we started working together, we were doing one-on-one calls. Now we get to do group. I loved seeing the group because I get to understand. Firstly, I really appreciated having even other sales coaches, other people with different opinions. At the end of the day, every person has their own flavor, their own individuality, their own styles to it.
Yeah,
I like learning it. I like the value of also just seeing other people on this journey because I realize,
yeah,
oh, I'm actually not crazy to want to charge these prices. Oh, actually, there are people who've already been on this road and they're a little bit, let's say, further along than I am. And
yeah.
that kind of helps give me the confidence that, like, I know I
Mhm.
can do this because, and not to, I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, but I'm like, oh, there's nothing special that they have that I don't have. So, really, it's just a matter of learning the skills and building the system out and being obviously dedicated and disciplined to create that six-figure, seven-figure business.
We had a sales coach come on last night and we actually went through one of your closed sales calls. And so that was fun. But there's, people they might not always think that in the closed sales calls there is something to learn, but we still got so much value out of it and learned so much. And I feel like these next sales calls that you're going to go into, you're going to absolutely crush and it's going to
I
be
think I think anybody who looks at honestly, now that I've like understood, now that I'm understanding sales more, like there's you could always get better. This is a skill. It's
true.
like you could become the best in the world if you continue to practice and go on these calls and have people coach you on them and having people pick apart you talking in real time is so humbling and it's so valuable.
Yeah.
Like it really
Yes.
is.
Yeah, being on the roasting chair, it's needed sometimes. You just gotta let your ego go and kind of
Yeah,
allow yourself to go through the challenges and through that uncomfortable pain of watching back your calls and kind of just taking a back seat and letting other people learn from you. And there's so much value in that. So I appreciate you
100%.
being willing to share those as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, last question is just for anyone who's watching right now. What would you say to someone who's thinking of starting?
Look, if you're thinking of starting, just know that she is true to her word, which is the most important thing when you work with anyone in business. I think anybody who's willing to work with somebody as potentially annoying as I am and scrupulous and has a million questions and wants to know every single little bit of what's happening, and can approach it with the level of grace and consistent accountability and discipline like Emily has and the team there at Curate Funnel, then I think it's worth it. Like it's so worth it. It was the best investment. I didn't think I had the money at the time. Like I was like, oh, I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, but now I made that kind of money. So it's like you will make that kind of money.